Hey guys, just before the video starts, I wanted to give a little bit of backstory. This is gonna be like a little commentary video, with just me playing some Minecraft in the background. I do have a podcast talking about this, but the audience that it usually reaches is like 40 to 70-year-olds, and I'm only 21, and I would like it to reach younger individuals so I could get what I'm trying to do out there and tell other people. If you guys do want to check out that podcast, I'll have the my other channel linked in bio or somewhere in the video. Um, but anyways, I have stage 4 colon cancer, and this is just gonna be me talking about what's going on, so I can mix a hobby and tell my story while doing so. Well, anyways, I'll let you guys get back to the video. If you guys could like, subscribe, share. Um, yeah. People often say, "Oh, why don't you get a job? Oh, you're 21 and you're jobless." Man, if only people would know what it's like. You know, I am 21, yeah. I used to work with my dad as an electrician 40 hours a week. Um, I would also go to real estate school after working, let's just say 7 to 4. At 5, I had real estate class from 5 to 9. And then I would go home and sleep and do it all again. Okay. That was while I was stage 3 and I had a tumor growing in my back, and then I became stage 4. So I was no longer able to work because it was just too painful. Before that, right before my diagnosis, I was going to be a wildland firefighter. I've always wanted to do something bigger than myself. So I thought, you know what? Why not do some law enforcement type of thing? Well, working towards law enforcement, I was like, maybe law enforcement isn't me. Maybe I want to fight fires. Maybe I want to, yeah, that's a good idea. So, working with my dad, as I mentioned, an electrician, I ended up wiring a captain's house, a captain of the wildland firefighters, and they were like, "Yo, I see the potential. I see how much like hard work you put in. Honestly, I'll suggest you." So I basically got hired on the spot because they were like, "Oh, this guy never recommends anyone, and he's such a hard worker, and he's such a inspiration to the crew." So you know what? Yeah, you're hired basically. And so as it's coming up to for me to start, working, I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. The gym is going great. I gained 30 pounds in 2 months, pure muscle, all because of a heartbreak. And yeah, I can do this. But you know what? My stomach really hurts. Oh, there's blood in my stool. What is going on? Cancer. Alright, well, after that happens, it sucks. That's a story for another time. But working with colon cancer, bro, imagine being 21 with stage 4 colon cancer. I mean, I was diagnosed at 20, and I wasn't necessarily like working the type of job a typical 20-year-old would work. I'm working full time with my dad, which I mean, that's cool. He owns his own business, so that's why I'm working with him. I made decent money, but there's just so much money I could make, because then I'm low key taking too much money from my family. And I was always good in school, so I had a year of college done. But I get it. College isn't for everyone. Well, I had to find out that neither is working or being healthy, or working with cancer was really tough right when I was considered, cancer free, did my first 6 months of chemo, though probably the hardest thing of my life because I was bedridden. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna live my life, I'm gonna go back to the gym, and I'm gonna be working my butt off. So I am. But, things don't always work out. But while working with cancer, you're just so fatigued and tired, and it's a difficult thing to do, and I mean it's easier said than done, you know. And like Technoblade, for example, I mean I don't know if he worked. I mean he did have college. I remember being a follower when he was just under a mil subscribers, and he would do videos like this, and this is where I'm getting the idea from. But he was in college, and I think he dropped out to do YouTube full time, which is respectable because he was making bank. I'm sure, well, he ended up getting enough money for his siblings to go to college. So, I mean, hey, maybe I could do something like that. But it's kind of hard finding a purpose when you're 21 years old and jobless and you don't really know if you're gonna beat cancer, like my cancer came back and it ended up being stage 4, and then I was told, "Oh, you have 4 years left to live." That kind of does something to you, like yeah, I I'm told 4 years. Okay, that really sucks. And I guess you would argue like, yeah, well, nobody can really put a time limit on it. Doctors are always wrong. That's true. I hope the doctors are wrong, but realistically, the professionals, I need to kind of listen to them. You know. Um, but it just I feel like a chud, playing video games all the time while my family's out working hard and I'm getting all the support. And realistically, all I'm doing, and all I'm really having to do is just focus on my health and try to eat. That's my job. That is my job. And I can't even do that properly. When I eat, I'm so bad at it. I thought gaining weight during, bulking season and like gymming, I thought that was pretty hard. I was succeeding at it, but I thought it was pretty hard. I didn't know it was harder. I mean, obviously, I kind of knew it was, but I never really thought about it. It's way harder having cancer and having to eat, and you have no appetite. And it's not even that you have no appetite. It's just after treatment, you don't want to eat, and all you're doing is throwing up. And I mean, all chemos are different. I've been on oxaliplatin and capecitabine, which, I mean, those capecitabine is not necessarily too bad, but the oxaliplatin, that one gives you a cold sensitivity. So I wouldn't eat for like 2 weeks, and I wouldn't drink, so I don't know how I'm alive. But I mean, hey, at least I didn't have to do that while working because I was bedridden during that time. But when I was with my dad in between treatments working, that was just difficult, Like, I was getting back to it, and it ended up coming back. So it really feels like whatever I do is kind of useless. Not really gonna be able to find that purpose. And I mean, hey, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. How? Who am I to say? I mean, I don't know the future. You don't know the future. We're all kind of living the same life. We'll find out one day, I guess. Not even the same life. I'm just saying, like, in the same world. But man, do I miss working. Never thought I'd say that. I'd always loved playing video games when I was older, when I was younger. Sorry, I got chemo brain. Forgive me. When I was younger, I loved playing video games, but I did not want to do that 24/7. I wanted to work. I was a sports player, and it's just not being able to work. It's kind of lame. I feel like an embarrassment. I know I'm not, but it's just these feelings and these thoughts you get. And maybe that's the reason why I wanted to tell my story, because it kind of gives me a purpose, makes me feel like I have some sort of job or reason to keep going. I'm not saying I'm giving up, but when I'm told 4 years, I'm expected 4 years. That's what the professionals say. But maybe this is a way of me making money and having a higher purpose than just being that 21-year-old stage 4 cancer patient. But anyways, if there is anything you guys would want me to talk about in the future, or if you guys feel like, hey, this guy's pretty cool, comment, like, subscribe. I'd really much appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Again, thank you for watching. Check out my podcast if you're interested in that. It is on YouTube. It's Cancer Boy, Nolan Thomas. I have like 2,000 subscribers, but yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video.